Hi there everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do the first weekly reading vlog of the year and I am so excited about it. I have a lot of goals for 2024 as everyone does, but I really want to focus on capturing a lot of my reading experience this year. I think it would just be so fun to go back and look at it as I am progressing through the year and what books I really enjoyed, and my reactions and kind of just what I'm up to while I'm reading at the same time. This will also be my only weekly reading vlog of the year until like October that I don't have grad school. So I am very much looking forward to getting some good reading in and enjoying the time that I have while I have it, because next week will certainly be a different story. With all of that, let's talk about my reading plans for this vlog. So first, we are starting our Crescent City journey. We have Sarah J. Maas and House of Earth and Blood, and I am already about 34 pages into it, but don't worry, you haven't missed anything at this point because basically nothing makes sense and I have no idea what's going on at this point. So no worries there. I will take you along as I'm kind of piecing it all together because I just genuinely have no idea what we're getting at here. It's kind of info dumpy, but in a way where I have still no idea what's going on. I don't know what things mean, who these characters are at this point, so we're gonna figure it out together. And it's about 800 pages, so if I could finish this week, I think I would be very happy with that because it's a lot. It's a lot, and I'm still very intimidated, but also am very excited for it because, as we all know, January 30th, the third book in this series comes out. So we're gonna get there and we're gonna do it together, and then I get to read with all the other girlies who are reading it at the same time, and that's all I want to do. I just want to read what the other girlies are reading. And then for my audiobook pick, I love that Spotify has started giving us 15 hours a week of audiobooks, so I'm going to be using that on Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I've heard this audiobook is really good, and it's also one of my 24 books to read in 2024, so I really wanted to make it a priority, and I've heard just such crazy things about it. Like, it makes you feel so many different emotions. Like, you're angry, but then you also kind of want to justify it, but then you're just angry. So I am really looking forward to that experience, and we'll keep you all updated obviously as I'm going through it. This is also going to be my first R.F. Kuang book, so I have really high hopes for it because I've heard nothing but great things about this author and am really looking forward to it. So those are the reading plans for this vlog. Like I said, I am going to be going back to work this week, so it is Monday now and I won't go back until Wednesday. So I'm going to try to take you all along in my week a little bit more, especially because the first couple of days should be more entertaining than the last couple of days. So we will do that. Today it's New Year's Day, so we're just kind of hanging out. I think I'm going to get some good reading in and then go from there. So I will update you all once I have one. Good morning everyone and happy Tuesday. I feel like I've already had a full day and it's just the beginning. So it's about 11:30 now, but this morning I've already taken Scoot to daycare. I've returned a library book and had a big old Target haul, so I wanted to show you all that. And then I also went to the eye doctor, and that was fine. I hate it when they do the little spurt thing in your eye. But I got new glasses that I'm so excited about, and they'll be in like 2 weeks. So I always have to send a picture to my sister though to be like, are these cute? Because I mean, like, I think they are, but I need to make sure that it comes across as cute, you know? No style, but that's okay. Before we do a reading update, because I do have an update, I wanted to show you all the planner and kind of that stuff that I got for this year, and I love it. So let's get into it. Okay, so first I got a pack of my G2 Pilot pens. These are like my favorite pens. They're the pens I always use, and they are the 0.7 millimeter fine type, so love these, had to restock. Then I got these zebra markers that looked super cute, and there was only 10 of them. I tried not to get too many of them, but I really wanted some markers, and they are fine felt tip for writing and journaling, which I'm hoping more to do. So I have my book journal and then also a couple of other journals that I want to start trying to keep. So I was very happy with these. And then some ballpoint pens that I think have different colors as well, just like to spice up the writing if I ever want to. A cute little pouch so that I can put all of my writing utensils in here and have them all in one place. A 2024 planner. I was thinking about using my book journal as my like overall planner, but I don't like mixing that. Like I want to have my work life here, my book journal there, just to keep them separate and kind of, I don't know, does that make sense? I feel like they shouldn't overlap. I don't know why. But these are my favorite because you have like your today and then your to-do list. So I really like that aspect. I don't like as much that this has the 30-day challenge on it, but the other one that just had 2024 on it was pink, and I like pink, but not enough to look at it every day. So I really like this kind of just easy looking color. And then I got myself a journal that I think is very cute, and I really want to use it outside of the book journal to just kind of recount like what's going on in my life, how I'm feeling. I was really good about this right after I graduated, but then I kind of fell off of it. And I really want to be able to look back and kind of just see what I did that year. So I'm really hoping to be better about it this year. So a pretty big haul from Target, and that just is what it is. But I'm really excited about all of it. I think it's going to be great, and I plan on using it all, so that'll be good. Also, sorry about the background. It is just that time of day. Okay, and now what you'll probably really want to hear about, let's do a reading update. So first, I'm about 170 pages into Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood, and that's about 20% of the way. So we are slowly but surely making our way through. I feel like I needed to get that far through before I could give you all an update, because now I think I understand what this story is going to be about. And yes, it did take all 170 pages for me to understand just the general plot of this story. So this story focuses on our half fae, half human female main character named Bryce, but it's also third person, so we get different clips of like what everybody is thinking about, which is interesting. I would prefer it be more like different POVs, but that's okay. So we focus on her, and she's in her mid-20s, and she is at an art gallery, and she's just a party girl. And she doesn't really care what anybody thinks about that. And her best friend is Danica, and she is leader of a wolf pack. So there are a lot of different creatures within this world, and there's different hierarchies that I'm not even fully sure what they're all about yet. But something happens, and like the back of the book says, that there is this murder, and then her world just comes crashing down. So that happens. And so we had that happen, and now we are at the part where we are, I think, 2 years later, and a similar murder has happened, but they thought they had locked up the person who did the first murder. So now we are just trying to figure out what is going on, like where is this person coming from. And so like the governor of this city has come to Bryce and been like, you had a connection to both of these two people who were unalived, so let's try to explore more avenues, and hopefully you can help track them down because we haven't. So that, I believe, is what's going to happen here. We're going to get to see that. We have a personal bodyguard on her named Hunt, and he is like the whisperer of death or something like that. So, I don't know. It's interesting. It took a lot to get there, and it feels like a lot of the time nothing's really happening. Like, we're just kind of vibing, and then sometimes the plot moves forward. But for the most part, it's just taking its sweet time, obviously. But I'm not as enthralled in the story as I was hoping to be. I mean, it's fine. It's just nothing great, which is tough because if it's 800 pages, I want to be really, really excited about it. But, you know, I'm hoping now that she kind of has her marching orders to start trying to figure out who this murderer is, that we will get there and really start making some progress in this plot. So that's Crescent City. Next, I am on chapter 6, page 77 of Yellowface by R.F. Kuang, and it is already so interesting. I'm listening to the audiobook, so I'm not like crossing these two over really. I have just been listening to this while I do chores and whatnot and riding around this morning. But it is so interesting because our main female character, I don't know if I've actually given the summary of this one either. But what happens is that June and Athena are supposed to be these literary darlings who are supposed to be up and coming in the literary world, but Athena is the only one that career really takes off, and June really resents her for it. She thinks that she is so pompous, just like very, very jealous of Athena's success so far. And then what happens is Athena dies just unexpectedly. And now June has come into her manuscript of the last book that she wrote before she passed. And so June really enjoyed it and started tweaking it and then sent it off to her publisher. And instead of trying to explain that it was Athena's and she had just made some edits, she like just claimed it as her own. And so now what we're seeing is June kind of take on the success of Athena's story, and it's obviously launching her into fame because Athena like was a really good writer, and June's like, but now it's mine. Like the revisions I made, like I don't even know where she ends and I begin. So it's very interesting because she acknowledges like, oh, I know that you think that I'm the worst, but let me tell you why I'm not. And really trying to rationalize it to herself as well, like how she can still be a good person. This can still be her book, even though Athena did literally everything to get her to the point where she can edit it and feel good about it. So it's a lot. And also the story was about is World War I Chinese labor unions, and Athena has more of that cultural identity where June does not. So Athena really tried to dig in and really get all the information and understood that a little bit better. But June also tried to research it, but obviously doesn't have as much connection to it. So we get to see her in the different, like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of lighting stuff going on. So there's just a lot going on in here. But it is just like, oh, like you kind of want to rationalize it because she's very compelling. But also you're like, no, like this is so wrong. Like, why is this happening? Like, she should be caught and stopped for doing this because it is plagiarism. Like, you cannot do that. But this woman really just wants this life for herself. And so this book that she's publishing that was Athena's is her claim to fame. So it's very interesting. I am really enjoying it. Yeah, just a lot of emotions in this one that are very much conflicting, but having a really good time with it. I'm really enjoying the audiobook, so it's going well overall. So I'm hoping to get a little bit more of Crescent City done today before I have to go back to work tomorrow, and that might just be the afternoon. So I will give you all an update when I have one. Hi, it is now Thursday morning. I didn't really vlog at all yesterday because I was just trying to get through my first day back at work, and We did it. We got through, and we included a workout, and we even did a 2.5 mile walk afterwards while we read Crescent City. So overall, very productive, very exciting. But I wanted to come on and share an update with you all. And before we get to the Bookish update, first, I got some new headphones yesterday, and I am so excited about them. I've been wanting new like noise canceling headphones for a very long time, about a year and a half. So when my Christmas bonus and everything came in, I knew that's what I wanted to spend some of that money on. And I absolutely love them. I used them while I was walking on the treadmill last night, and it was so insane to put the active noise canceling on and just have everything just dull out, because obviously the treadmill makes noise. And so to have that completely dulled, I was like, this is absolutely insane. So already am loving them so much and I'm so excited to have them. So that is that. The audiobook listening is going to be fantastic. But let's talk about my two current reads really quick, because it's already Thursday and I would love, love, love to go into next week without either of these in progress. Like, I want to finish them before this week is over. And one of them's looking a little iffy. That one being naturally Crescent City, because even though we are 250 pages in, it barely looks like I've made a dent at this point, which is just so unfortunate because I feel like I have been reading it and reading it. But also, since it is a like higher fantasy and I'm still trying to figure out what's going on in this world, honestly, I just read it slower. So it's not as easy to just kind of binge and like roll through. I really have to pay attention and it just takes longer. Also, I'll say it's very interesting that this is still in the third person, because we get a little bit from everyone, but I don't really feel connected to anyone. I'm just being told what these people are doing. I don't get to see inside of their head. So I think I'm really struggling with that perspective, and also the fact that it's an urban fantasy. So we have cell phones and bombs and just these insane things. Not really insane, I guess, since it's normal in this world, but in a fantasy world, it's not, I think, doing as much for me. But the plot is finally progressing, but it's not like progressing very quickly. I feel like if we are only just now figuring out kind of like where we're going with this story, it's just taken a very long time to get here, so I can't even imagine where we're headed next. So I don't know, I think if this was not as popular of a read, sorry if you can hear Scooter slurping down some water, but if this was not as popular of a read as it is, I think that I would probably put it down because it is just not that good. Or maybe it is that good, but it's just taking forever and I just need my books to progress more quickly. I don't I don't feel like that's an unreasonable ask, but here we are. And it actually is so crazy that I'm planning on reading both of these this month because, well, like, oh my gosh, they're just so big. They're so big. It's giving me tandem read PTSD. So that's that. I'll stop ranting about it, but overall, we are still trucking through it. I think I'm gonna have to have like a reading marathon on Friday and Saturday so that I can hopefully knock a lot of this book out. And tonight, I think I'm going to spend a lot of my time reading because I would really like to get up to the halfway point, which is 150 pages to be read tonight. And then for my audiobook update, Yellowface, it's still going pretty well. I think it's very interesting because you have these emotions because you're hearing the story from the perspective of somebody who has stolen a story from another person. And so we also get the race dynamic because the person who wrote this book was a member of the community that she was writing about, but this person isn't, and she has done a few things to make herself seem more appealing to that audience so that like the publishers and everything can validate that she is writing this and hopefully like dim the blowback from somebody who's not of that community writing a story about that community. And it's just so interesting because you have this perspective and you have the people in the book who are pushing back about this person, and then you have her thoughts which are coming through, and like as the main female character you find yourself really wanting to believe this person, but then you're like, No. Why would I feel any type of sympathy for you? Because you are the person who stole this book and now you are doing these things. Like, you have chosen a dishonest path. So I should really not feel anything for you. And the fact that she is getting like frustrated with this process is just so mind-blowing, because she literally put herself in this position and it's a horrible thing that she did. So just like hearing it, like her trying to validate her actions and what she's doing, is just so grinding to your gears. But then you're also listening to it and you're like, well, maybe, but then you're like, no, like this is not a good thing that's happening, and she should feel every bit of the guilt and any other inconvenient feeling that she's feeling, because it's probably inconvenient that she stole an entire manuscript and wrote it off as her own, you know? Also, it's so interesting because she's like, you can see herself try to delude what she's doing, because by the end she takes this manuscript, which is in its first draft, and she like starts editing it and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so good with words, and like this story is basically mine at this point, which is just so insane, because she did none of the lifting, like none of the heavy lifting to get this story to a place where she could edit it. And I mean, to delude yourself that much that you're like, I'm so good with words, like your first book completely flopped. Like, if you have to write another one, people are going to see through and be like, that is not of the same caliber as what you have just previously put out. So I'm definitely getting mad. And it's just like, we're like probably 40% of the way through at this point, and I'm not sure what else is going to be happening here. So I don't know. I guess we'll keep watching. I think this is such a funny cover because I just like want to cut my eyes at it too. Yeah, so that is my update for this one, but the audiobook is a really good experience, so I would definitely recommend that. And those are my current reads. I'm really hoping to spend a little bit more time today reading them and getting a good dent in both of them. We'll see. We are hopeful, but other than that, we're gonna go to work and that'll be that. So I will see you all with another update soon. Okay, hey there everyone. It is actually Sunday now. I did a horrible job of vlogging on Friday and Saturday, but that is mainly because I just went all in and absolutely binged Crescent City. And I mean, I think I put probably somewhere between 12 hours into that book in those 2 days. So I was just sitting down. There was nothing exciting going on. I was just reading. So that's why I didn't really update. But now that I have finished both of the books for this vlog, let's talk about them. So first, I did finish the audiobook for Yellowface by R.F. Kuang, and I ended up giving this book 4 stars, but I genuinely struggled with how to rate this book because it makes you feel so intensely about what's going on, and the author, well, not the author, the main character is just despicable. She is just slowly gets worse throughout this entire journey, and it is just very, very painful. But then also as the reader, you feel for her because she's getting really just nasty messages about what she is doing, and people think that she has plagiarized, and she is also not the person to be raising the voices that she is, and she just does not take it well at all, and instead of tries to understand their perspective, really just hones in on her stance instead of trying to be like open-minded. So it was just very, very intense, but you could also see the guilt of what she had done, basically eating her alive too. So it was a lot kind of going on. How it ended, I feel like, really brought it all together. And so like, I'm not going to spoil anything, but it was just very, very intense. So I really thought that it was very cool how R.F. Kuang made you feel so intensely about your main female character, who's basically leading you through the story and leading you through her thoughts. And so you kind of get confused sometimes, but then you have to remember, like, this is what's actually happening. Like, this is just June's kind of delusional idea of what this is supposed to be, but from everything else that you're experiencing, this is the truth. So you really have to kind of keep yourself separate as the reader. But I did really enjoy it. I think that it was a very important read and a very good read, and I'm very excited to read more of R.F. Kuang's work. And then I ended up finishing Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas, and I gave it 4 stars. I don't think I explained this at all, but basically this book was so big that like it has no flop to it. So that's why you all saw me reading on my Kindle the entire time. I did buy it on my Kindle, and I will probably buy the second one on my Kindle as well, because these are just like not conducive to a good reading experience. So that's why you saw that this whole time. But I think the last time I updated you all on this, I was really struggling to relate to Bryce and her entire perspective and what she was going through. But by the end of the book, and I mean, I think the last time I updated you all was when I was like 20 to 40% in, and I was really on the struggle bus. It took a lot to get me through. But once things started happening around the 50% point, and mind you, that's about 400 pages in, it got so good. It got so good. And then the last 70 to 90% of the book, I was like on the edge of my seat the whole time. I was like, this is insane. Like, I can't believe these things are happening. And to see it all kind of play out was just so good. Like, I didn't forget how good Sarah J. Maas is at writing like a plot line or battle scenes. Like, the battle scenes in here were so good. Bryce was just fantastic as a female main character, and everything was just so intense. Like, I felt like I was in the middle of a battle. So I really enjoyed it by the end of the book. I was very pleasantly surprised that this didn't leave off on a huge cliffhanger, because I really want to take a break now and give my brain a break before I go into House of Sky and Breath. So I overall am very happy that I ended up persevering and reading through this, because it was definitely worth it in the end, but it was definitely a struggle to get there. So if you are struggling to get into this book, I see you, but like, just try and push through. I've also seen that the audiobooks are really helpful in trying to get through these books as well, because you can just kind of hear a little bit more, and then it's not as much brain power in trying to figure out how to pronounce every single creature that's introduced in here. So I think that that's pretty important too. But yes, overall, a very solid start to 2024. These 2 books were very good in their own regard, and it's more than 1,000 pages that I read this week. So that is also a great start to the reading year. Before we roll out, I wanted to show you all just a couple of other things that I got, like bookish related things that I had recently picked up. So first, you're actually looking at me wearing it. The Bookish Goods was having a sale, and so I picked up this necklace, and I am just going to take it off so that you can see it. Like, I ended up getting this necklace, and it's a book with a flower on it, and I just think that it was so cute. So I had my eye on it for a while, and it was 50% off, so I grabbed it. Next, an actual book that I actually bought back in December, but it just got in here with all the shipping time delays. But I picked up To Shape a Dragon's Breath, and this became really popular around the time Iron Flame was coming out and the entire controversy around Rebecca Yarros was going on. So everybody really recommended this book and said that they really enjoyed it. So I'm glad to have this on my shelf now. I think that it's going to be a very good read, and I can't wait to get into it. And then lastly, not like super bookish related, but I got a candle warmer, and I think it's so cute. So I'm going to turn you around to see it. I think it's just the cutest thing. So I'm loving that. It's like a little lamp within itself too. So love it. But that is all for this weekly vlog. I'm going to try to be better about vlogging every day in the next weekly vlog, so I can actually call it a weekly vlog and not like a couple of days, just whenever I feel like it. But we will see you all in the next one. Let me know what you ended up reading this week, and if you have read either of the books that I read, I would love to talk to you all about it in the comments. So I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!